What up, news? Welcome, it's your boy Noobtonic. Obviously, I just beat Uncharted 4. I'm still uploading videos as we speak, but I saw a lot of reviews about it, and some I agree with, some I disagree with. So I decided to make my own review, how I feel about the game overall. Just to start off, great storytelling has always been something that we go to the movie for. We go to the cinemas, or we watch a TV show, or we go to the theaters even. Video games have never been the same lane as a blockbuster movie. That was until Naughty Dog came into the picture with the Uncharted series. Now, Naughty Dog pretty much showed us that they could tell a compelling story that also has a cinematic Michael Bay movie type action in it when they introduced it to us to Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, and Uncharted 3. Now, when you watch a movie, the directors actually have 1 to 2 hours to deliver to us, the viewers, a compelling story strong enough for us to care about the characters. But in the typical video games, when you're playing a video game, a long video game, you're looking at the studio have roughly 15 to 20 hours of gameplay time to make us, the players, care about the character that we're controlling by giving us a compelling story themselves. But nobody have actually done it the way Uncharted have done it to date. And in Uncharted 4, I think one of the main compelling story that the studio wanted to focus on is Sam.
Yeah, that's all this guy.
You saved his ass again?
Naturally. How you doing?
Good. Good. There was some close calls, but he covered me.
Hey. Hey. How's that? Oh.
Bullet grazed my shoulder.
Yeah.
You?
Cliffside. Grazed my face. So how'd you lose Rafe?
He led his crew right into one of Avery's traps.
And who he is, what he's about, and where he came from. And why haven't we heard about him from Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, or Uncharted 3? Uncharted 4, he had an issue with the amount of time that Naughty Dog spent on telling the background story of Sam. I actually found that a silly issue because we have never ever heard about Sam. And there's a reason why we haven't heard about Sam. We know who Elena is, we know who Sully is, we obviously know who Drake is from all his adventures, but we have never heard about Sam. So in order for Naughty Dog to make us believe who this new character is, they needed to give us an in-depth story about who Sam is. And that's why the introduction took so long. I think it took roughly 5 hours. I don't know how many chapters it was, but it made sense because in order for me to believe who Sam is, it made sense. So I did not understand why he had an issue with it. Like I said, movie directors has 1 or 2 hours to tell us a background story. So what they would do, they'll probably do a 15-minute flashback and go back to the main story. In gaming, you have unlimited time. You can make your game as long as you want. So in order for us to believe who Sam was in general, we had to go in and figure out why Drake himself have never mentioned him from Uncharted to Uncharted 3. The player needed to know to make the Sam character more believable. Because at this point of the game, Drake is living a normal life. He's not married to Elena. He's not really looking to get back into the adventure, treasure hunting lifestyle that he used to live back in Uncharted 1, 2, 3. But something has to be strong enough from his past to make him risk. He promised his wife he wasn't going back. Something had to be strong enough to make him risk everything, his marriage, his future, just to go back into this treasure hunting world. And that's when this background story of Sam really, really came in handy. And without that story, I don't think players like me will probably believe the Sam character, and Nolly they did a brilliant job developing the Sam, I guess, this Sam background story, because it was so believable, you know, to the point that Sam actually became one of my favorite characters as the game progressed. And you do realize that Drake and Sam ends up spending a lot of time together in the game. Majority of the time you spend with Sam. And Drake and Sam will have a little back and forth, a little comment towards each other. And those comments and their sense of humor wouldn't make sense to you if you don't get that background story about how their childhood was, why Drake looked up to Sam, what happened to Sam that made Drake go quiet about him and never even mention it to his wife. You know, the only person that knew about Sam's existence was Sully. And beside from that, nobody else knew, and even Sully didn't talk about him either. So, you know, there was something deep in there that made sure, I'm not gonna ruin what it is if you haven't played the game, that made them not talk about it. So it really makes sense. So story wise, I give it a 10 out of 10 with no problem. I don't have no idea what that guy from Game Radar is talking about. If you want a short story, then go watch a movie. Okay, let's move on to gameplay. The gameplay, beside from some of the hiccups when it comes to the new cover system, I have no issue with it. And when I say hiccup, usually what you do when you tap the circle button, Drake goes into the nearest cover around him. But now the circle button is also used to roll around. So sometimes I'm like bashing the circle button, like trying to get out of the way, and I will expose myself, and I get out of cover and then expose myself. Then that goes my stealth. I really didn't care about this that much because I prefer going in gun blazing than actually being stealthy. I prefer going in gun blazing, so I really don't care about that stealth issue. But beside from that, the whole game system was done beautifully. I mean, if you want to enjoy the game, I suggest you turn off the auto aim and play the game regularly if you want to enjoy a realistic gunfight. And the new melee system is actually a little more better. It's more polished. It's more realistic. And the new AIs, they are freaking crazy, man. They actually fight back. And what I mean by fight back, for example, when you're on a cliff and you're trying to pull the enemy down, and if they see you before you do that, they will fight back and try to push you off them. If you do succeed and pull them down, then they will proceed to grab onto your leg and hold onto your leg until you actually kick them off. So the enemies, they really, really, really fight back. And they do push up aggressively when they realize you're getting weak and you're undercover, or when you run out of bullets, they really, really push up on you. And it's very aggressive. I played in normal mode, and I still find it a little kind of hard, but not too much hard. Now, I saw another comment. I don't know where I saw this at. Somebody mentioned something about not being enough puzzles in this Uncharted 4. Well, that's because this Uncharted 4, I mean, if you read the description of the whole game, description, it said this time Drake is struggling between risking his family over going back into the treasure world. So they're more focused on the character development of how Drake have graduated from being this hardcore hunter to this family guy that want to live a regular life and just retirement. He's pretty much progressing into retirement. And they really was focused on more emotion this time.
Close.
Okay, just stop. Was there ever a Malaysia job?
Is she taking off her ring?
Elena, wait.
I don't get you.
Look, I wanted to tell you.
You know what? Enough.
No, I wanted to, but how could I?
I don't know. Just say it.
I had to protect you.
That is bullshit, Nate. You just didn't have the nerve to face me again.
I knew you would react like this.
How would you react? You lied to me for weeks. If you were killed, I I wouldn't have even known about it. And now you have a brother. Who are you?
Come on. I'm me. Come on, it's me. It's different this time.
Oh my God.
I have to save him. I don't even care about the treasure.
The look on your face when you walked into this room. If you're done lying to me, then you should stop lying to yourself.
So I really didn't mind the less puzzles, and some of those puzzles we got, they were enough for me to go, okay, let's bang this out and move on to the next gunfight, because you really don't want to sit there for hours and try to solve a puzzle. And I didn't even mind them when they did those big hard puzzles back on Uncharted 1 and Uncharted 2, even Uncharted 3. I didn't mind those puzzles, but at this time around, there's so much emotional roller coaster that's happening in the storyline that you just don't have time to sit there and dwell on a puzzle for hours. Granted, 1 or 2 puzzles are hard, I would say. I'll let you figure out which one it is. For me, it would be I forget that room where you have to use the pirate ship thing to switch around the little globes to match what the shadow showing on the wall. And the other one is when you had to flip those little card things around a little bit. That was like the 2 I think that was semi-hard puzzles. But beside from that, I think the puzzle was light and good, just enough. Now, multiplayer is usually a bonus for Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog, they pretty much went all out this time with multiplayer by introducing a new upgrade system, Uncharted coins, daily missions, stuff to do that then will reward you with relics. Then you can use the relics in the Uncharted store to buy cool stuff like new boosters, better guns, new villain characters, character costumes, all that crazy stuff. So it does encourage you to go back and play the game over and over again. Now, beside from doing the review, I also want to tell you guys what I think, my prediction of what the DLC will be. And if this is where the real spoiler comes. So if you haven't watched the walkthrough, my walkthrough, or even haven't even played the game, go play the game or go watch the walkthrough that I did in the series. The link I should put a link below. But yeah, this is what the spoiler is gonna be. I have 3 different predictions of what I think the DLC might be. The first one being is obviously everybody knows it. Everybody that played the game to the end knows that they introduced us to Drake's daughter right at the end of the game. Now, she has no clue what her parents used to do in the past. Being a young teenager in the house by herself, obviously, eventually she finds out Drake's stash, trophy stash, where he keeps all the little items that he collects from all his adventures from Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2 to Uncharted 4. Obviously, she asked Drake about it. Drake started telling her the story, and you could see her eye lights up, and she's interested in what's happening and what they used to do in the past. Obviously, the hunger for adventure is there for her, so I wouldn't be surprised if they do something with her. Now, the second DLC suggestion I think they might do, prediction, will be Sam and Sully. At the end of the game, Drake goes back with his wife and tells Sully to come stay with him. Sully said, he just came out of jail. He'd been in jail for 15 years. He still want to do adventure. He missed out on all this time of going on all this adventure Drake went to. So he decided to stick with Sully. Sam decided to stick with Sully because Sully's retired and kind of not retired. So he still dabbled in some of those little dangerous works. So Sam decided to help Sully with some of this dangerous quotation mark work that he's talking about. So we don't know exactly what he meant by that, why he needed Sam help, but obviously it's something that has to do with a lot of money involved or dealing with some dangerous bad guys. So I would like to see that as well. If they do a DLC about that, I wouldn't mind. And lastly, another DLC prediction would be Nadine. Nadine was like the biggest badass villain that we ever seen in Uncharted, to the point that she was even stronger than the main villain. You know, she was so strong. She took on Drake and his brother at the same time. And even at a point in the game where you jump from a building and you Superman punch her through a building, through like 2-story building, and she still gets up. And you literally have to put the gun in her head for her to stop. Like, she is that strong. And she obviously leads a little military army group. And obviously she's the gun for hire. So a bunch of rich people always hire, use her for her work. So who knows, maybe DLC will probably show something where some rich guys hire her for another kind of adventure, and you actually get to play as her. She's so ridiculously strong. Her melee system is incredible. I would like to control her character. I know you already control her character in the multiplayer, but I want like a storyline character built around Nadine. That's what I like to see. But that's it for now, noobs. This is pretty much my review, my prediction about the game. I know you guys have your own opinions. If you think I suck, let me know I suck. I don't care what you have to say, just say it. Let me know what you think about the storyline, the multiplayer, and the DLC that's coming out. And I'll talk to you noobs later. Oh!
Where the hell are you?
Oh!
You're the one who said just head down!
Oh my god! This is not good. This is not good. I don't know how that guy did it on E3 when he showed the demo. This is so hard.